right, welcome to another episode of Assist in an Anime, episode 5. We've had a tough week in the anime world for sure. We had got some bad news. We had to jump right into it, obviously. We got some bad news of what's going on in the anime world. Akira Toriyama passes away. Unfortunately, just a big guy who's had an influence, I think, on a lot of people's life, a lot of anime influence. Jason, let's just jump into it. What are your thoughts on Akira passing?
Man, it's hard for us, man. All the anime guys, that's like granddaddy right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like even you listen to or read the letters from, Bleach's creator, Naruto's creator, they call him Toriyama Sensei. So it kind of like is just indicative of what he meant to them and kind of how he, made the anime game cool for everybody. You know what I mean? So it's definitely it's hard for a fan of DBZ or hard for a fan of Chrono Trigger and anime, in general.
Right, right. Yeah, it was interesting, like you said, reading the letters, hearing everyone call him Sensei, and
Hmm.
um, it was a sad news. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, when I woke up the next day and read about it, and unbelievable. This, a guy that who brought so much to America for Dragon Ball. Like I don't know if he ever thought the whole Dragon Ball universe would be at the level it was at when he first created it, or what happened. But it's very interesting to see like how it's grown and everything. And of course, he created Chrono Trigger too, which was
Hmm.
another Super Nintendo game. But I want to jump into. We'll talk about Chrono Trigger, but first I want to know, what did like the Dragon Ball, the whole Dragon Ball universe mean to you when you were younger and now?
It was DBZ was like that like it's like a treat that no one knows about, like like a guilty pleasure. And like we always talk about how anime wasn't very, loved or a part of mainstream media. So DBZ was like my guilty pleasure. I had no other friends, too many friends that watched it with me. So it was like me and the TV and just like being episoded, like each episode, like being super hyped, like just waiting to see what Goku was going to do, how he was going to win. And, it was just something that I had to myself that I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it. So it was my thing. And so that kind of just helped me not care about what people think of it, like
Yeah,
people thought, So DBZ was really important to me growing up. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, same here, man. DBZ obviously introduced me into anime. And I think like Dragon Ball or early Dragon Ball Z may have came out like earlier too, before the Toonami days, where it was like
Hmm.
on TV like first thing in the morning. And I remember watching it as a kid and I thought it was really cool. And I would try to like time it to wake up when I was a kid, but some like it went away, and then I caught it again and Toonami, and then like watched some episodes of brought back
Hmm.
some memories. But it introduced me to anime. Um, like you said, it's like one of those things too, like a lot of people didn't like it, friends didn't like it, but I didn't really care what they thought. Um, Also, it was just an escape. I think I posted on the Samurai Champloo account that it was just like help me escape. Even now as an adult, when I was going through some issues or had some bad breakups or whatever, or like just had a bad day, the escape from reality just kind of put that on. Out there growing up too, being a kid, I was always trying to do like Kamehamehas and see maybe one day like I could go Super Saiyan. I'm like, I still like sometimes just will hit something like that every once in a while, just like, just like maybe, like, just maybe it's just hidden. I don't know. But, I always think about that. But it's crazy what a phenomenon, and how it, introduced me to anime, but it's just says everything about it was just like a world that it's a whole universe. It was like a world that wanted to be in. I wanted to be a part of outside of it. I wanted to like do the Kamehameha somewhere, like, just like, or like go Super Saiyan or fly or like protect, like, I don't know, just things like that you always think about. So it was a crazy that, I mean, it's sad to see, but you don't really think about it until how much impact you have on
Right.
yourself now. But that brings me to my next thought too. Chrono Trigger. I don't think a lot of people knew that Akira had a lot to do with Chrono Trigger, and it's wild. Like when you brought it up and put it on the dock, I like completely forgot about it until I actually had to Google search it. I'm like, oh my God, like I remember this. I didn't even know he had anything to do with it, to be honest, until I looked into it. Um,
Yeah.
what was Chrono Trigger to you?
So he was actually he helped create Chrono Trigger, Dragon Quest, and Blue Dragon. You remember Blue Dragon? The kid that had the dragon coming out of his back? Anyway,
I don't
that's
remember. I have to look it up.
it's super, super old, but Chrono Trigger, that game, something about it, like
Yes.
the art style was like DBZ style. So that's kind of like drew me in. And it literally took over my life. I was thinking about like this RPG, this, not a lot about it at the time, but it engulfed me for like a year and a half, 2 years straight, just farming out that game every day. So that's just indicative of Toriyama and what he does, what he's done in my life. Like, he just kind of he just engulfs you. You can't get away from it. You can't get away from the universe. So yeah, Chrono Trigger was huge for me. I love that game.
Yeah, that's a game I have to go revisit and play. It's funny because when you look at like the main character for Chrono Trigger, and you look at DBZ, the movie 13 with that guy Tapion, they look almost alike and everything. And it's right, I was like, man, that's funny. You could just tell by like the character and the hair and everything like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, sad day for, all Dragon Ball Z fans, Dragon Ball, but also it takes us back to like what we reminisce and what brought us to how Akira made an impact, I'm sure, on tons and millions of people's lives all over the world. I know like Mexico was really big into Dragon
Mm.
Ball Z. I didn't even know they were setting up Goku versus Jiren. They were doing like like a government watch party I
Oh,
was reading. And like it
wow.
was like a super fight, like for when it first came out. Like it was like almost like it was like Ali versus Frazier. Like that's how they're setting it up. So like a whole watch party. So like actually Japan like actually had to like ask them not to do it because of the streaming. They didn't want to lose the views on the streaming.
Oh, right.
So yeah, but if you look at it, if like there's some new like if you read about it, it's interesting in the sense of like there's pictures of like it looks like a fight, a heavyweight bout. They're like, well, they're setting up like Goku versus Jiren. Like it was very funny to like see. But it's just crazy, like that impact that man has had all
Mhm.
around the world and everything. So just love this stuff, and I hope he's in a better place and rests easy.
I mean, it's even the art style, like his art style influenced everything. And like like you can kind of see if you watch like anime from the 90s, just watch like compare the art style from the 90s leading up into the 2000s, and that more the Dragon Ball style kind of became like the standard style of your anime. And even like if your anime didn't have the right graphics, or the scale wasn't big enough, like this, that was your competitor. Like Dragon Ball was the competition. Like how can I get eyes away from that? So he changed the game and set the bar a little bit higher and set the standard for animes to follow, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like the movies and everything, like how they have
Yeah.
like 13 movies to come out with Dragon Ball Z alone, and then plus the other like super movies, which is like three of those, plus GT, which
Right.
right. And it's just like very like it's like, oh my God. Plus they had coming out with Dynama for like another like
Mhm.
series. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy how much he did. Like, I actually like was curious. I actually like was curious. He made a lot of money. He was like worth millions and millions of dollars. And it was nuts of how much of an impact of all that stuff that he did and everything. So he set like you said, I think he set the tone for animes going forward. Like you said, mentioned earlier, a lot of authors like Naruto's and Bleach authors really looked up to him and used him as like, as a standard to help write their influences. So art copies art in some sort of way, and like I hope that our kids can get to experience Dragon Ball the way we got to experience Dragon Ball in that whole universe, and get to enjoy it as much as possible, and hopefully they fall in love with it like we did.
For sure. For sure.
I love it. All right, so now we're gonna hit up the basketball news and everything. Well, first before we hit the basketball, are you watching anything new or anything catching up on, or
I'm caught up on Solo Leveling
are you really?
because I'm watching that week by week. It's gross. It's gross what it's done to me. Like, it's bad when you watch the .5 episode. You know what I'm saying? Now you have those. If you're watching that, that means you got it pretty bad. So I'm caught up on Solo Leveling. I started watching what's it called? Magic and Muscles.
Oh, Mashley.
Yeah, Mashley.
Yeah.
So that's been really funny. A lot more funny than I thought.
Yeah, yeah.
That's,
Same here. I was one of the things I watched it, and like I said, it just reminded me of One Punch Man meets like Harry Potter. So that's what it is. And it's just funny. Like, I love the scenarios that they put in like these super strong, like got like magic uses, and he just comes out of nowhere and just like uses regular stuff. And like, how did he do that? Like, what? He's just like a
with the episode I just watched, spoiler alert. So there's the Quidditch match
yeah.
where he can't fly. So he's just kicking his legs, flying in the air, throwing curveballs. I was just like, this is just over the top. I love it though. I love it. I love it. You suggesting that anime to me makes me laugh myself to sleep at night. That anime, good. That's good.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I'm glad you're watching that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on Solo Leveling. I'm up to date with Ninja Kamui as well. That show is just crazy. It's just blood, guts, and gore. It just that's all it is. It's so good though, in a sense of like the fight scenes are just amazing. It's like you're an action-packed anime for sure. And then I started watching Demon Slayer. I'm on the first
Nice.
movie right now. Yeah.
Oh, it's good. That's good stuff. That art, man, like I'm saying, like it's different from being older and watching anime and being younger than watching anime. Like watching anime is kind of just like you watch it for the wow factor, right? And when you get older, you start to get into character development and plot, and you start to appreciate the art style changes. Like just visually, these new animes are just stunning, like just stunning art style wise. So it's good to see that progression.
Yeah, absolutely. Demon Slayer is movie quality
Mm,
all the way through animation. Like, I don't know who produces it, but it's fantastic, whatever they do, because it seems like that's all their focus is on is Demon Slayer, and it's worth it. It's worth everything to kind of like watch that.
for
I've
sure.
been enjoying the art, the character designs, and things like you
Yeah.
said. As you get older, you enjoy the art more and just how beautifully it's done.
You can see the work put in behind it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into basketball news as we're getting into March Madness here, getting closer here, 1 week away. My Christmas, I like to call it, day one and day two of the tournament. But let's get into women's basketball. I mean, women's basketball and college basketball has been setting a blaze. I actually think that the women's tournament's going to might be higher rated than some of the men's games at the tournament because it's going to be fantastic to watch. Because we just had, I think this is good for women's college basketball, is we had LSU versus South Carolina, the brawl between the two between the two teams, the two top rated teams in the country. Um, and it was crazy. Someone's brother jumped out onto the
Mm.
out of the stands too, and I think he realized how big everyone was, and he just stopped what he was doing. I think he just realized how short he was. And
Yeah.
he was like, "Never mind, I made a mistake jumping out here."
My bad, Angel Reese.
Oh my God! But wild scene to see. What are your thoughts on that?
This is I gotta play devil's advocate, man. I absolutely loved it. I'm sorry if I was in the situation. You have to be political about it, and I think that Coach Don did a great job in her interview. You can't leave out the human element of these sports, especially basketball, where emotions get high, they get low. There's this whole storyline there. You have, Angel Reese and all these other players with all this celebrity that they have now, and they don't like each other. I like that.
I
I'm
do
all
too.
about it. That's old school kind of basketball. Like, and when you play college sports, you inherit a rival, and that's how it goes. Like, and you can make a rival or you can inherit a rival or whatever, but you give it all. So that makes your emotions go high. Got a little bit ugly, but that's the human element of sports.
Right. And especially, I think, I don't know when the women's SEC tournament is, but, or was that part of the SEC tournament?
I was no, it wasn't.
Um,
They'll see him again. That was
yeah.
the last game.
Oh, oh no, that was the tournament. I think it was.
That was the first round.
No, I think they won. Yeah, I don't know.
That was the championship game, right?
Yeah, they won over. Yeah, in that skirmish. Yeah, that was the tournament game.
That was the last
Uh,
game. So
I
even more so,
yeah,
if you're not going to fight in the championship game, when are you going to fight?
right, exactly. But like you said, it makes it for a good scenario because there's a very likely high possibility that these two teams will play each other
Right.
in
Yeah.
in the NCAA
Yeah.
tournament. Could meet each other in the Final Four, or Elite Eight, depending on seeding or whatever. But you love it. I mean, women's college basketball is on fire right now with everything that's going on. It's awesome. It's fantastic. I love it for the game.
Mhm.
From someone who's coached women's basketball before, love it. Big fan of like what's going on in college basketball. It just adds more fire and flair. So it's like must watch TV. It's like you want to watch Caitlin Clark, you want to watch South Carolina versus LSU, you want to watch UConn's obviously, and like all those teams that like have the chances to win because like they have players now. I feel like in women's college basketball that are like stars. It's almost like the NBA where you're watching for the stars.
Right.
Right.
That stuff is important too. Like, you want to be invested in somebody. You know what I mean? So I think that they don't have enough stars yet, but I think this will kind of shrink that pay gap
Yeah.
between the men's and the women's side. The more celebrity and the more I don't know, money that they get, everybody gets more money. You know what I mean? The more eyes you have on your sport, the better. And women's basketball is good basketball. If you
Right.
sit and watch high level women's basketball, it looks really good. So, and the athleticism gap is closing little
Yeah.
by little every year. So it's fun to watch. They have their storylines, they have the right kind of media coverage, they have the sponsorships, the branding, all that stuff just helps the sport, and it's great for the women's game. And I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, same here. Can't wait to watch the tournament. And then that leads us into men's college basketball conference tournaments going on right now as we speak. Very excited for those tournaments. Obviously, March Madness being around the corner for men's basketball. I think they start on the 21st for the actual, not the playing games, but the opening round. Just your
Mhm.
thoughts on March Madness and everything that's going on.
Well, as a participator in March Madness,
Oh,
NCAA tournament, you know, just
no
have
big
myself
deal.
back. You know what I mean? No big deal. But it's the most fun level of basketball you can experience. And it's one game and you're out. Like it's everything. You give your like I mean, if you run out of chakra, then you're gonna give your life spirit to it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how important it is. Like, and so you can see it. I mean, even as a fan, you can see the passion, the grit, the want to, and it just makes me excited.
I love it. I love it. And were you part of the 2013 team in New Albany?
2013? No, sir. I'm a little bit older than that.
A little bit older. Oh,
That's when that's the first tournament win, right?
I think so. That's when they beat Ohio State.
Yeah. We were
Okay.
tripping out about that. And also, UMBC, who was in our conference, was the first 16 seed to beat a number one seed.
Yep.
So that was that team. That was my conference. So I was mad that they won our conference, but I was happy that they got that game. So it's good. Good for mid majors all over.
That's awesome. What was the experience like to just be a part of the tournament and to be part of that like that first day and that like just did you have any nerves or anything going into that? What was that like?
Crazy nerve. But see, my nerves are different. I watched anime my entire life. So I'm looking for the strongest person to beat so I can get stronger. Like so that's like Goku walking into the cell tournament. It's like he's ready to beat everybody, he's ready to beat the strongest guy up, you know what I mean? So for me it was kind of like I got excited. You know how Goku gets excited before
Yeah.
you fight a stronger person. So for me I was nervous, but I was so excited to see where I stacked up.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's got to be awesome to be. I mean, that's obviously a once in a lifetime experience too. set foot on those courts, play in the NCAA tournament, to be a part of that. So that's awesome. So yeah, as someone that's been a part of it, it must be cool to, obviously now watch as a fan base and be able to see it and everything.
Man, because when it's over, it's over. You know,
Yeah.
like I played my tournament game as a senior. I had a concussion. I had the flu and I had a concussion.
Oh my God.
Do you think you was gonna keep me from that court?
No,
No
definitely
way.
not. No, no
No
way.
way. I was dizzy seeing too. I didn't even care, like, because if we lost, it was over anyway. So yeah, concussion and all, baby.
It doesn't matter. Just want to get want to get there. Oh man. Well, that's amazing that you were able to play. That was you were probably the '07 team, right? For the
Mhm.
tournament. Yep, back at U Albany. Yeah, I looked it up. I was doing my research just now. I'm looking it up. Oh, that's cool that you were a part of it. I'm jealous. That makes one of us, that was a part of the NCAA tournament, and one of us who watches.
Both of us shared
Well,
shared
yeah, shared experiences. My
shared it.
experience, my
Still doing
experiences are your experiences, right?
it. Right.
Um, so and again, the next topic is things that we've been seeing coming around, and this is a good topic that you put on here is heckling fans. Like, where's the line? The difference in hecklers across the globe too. But what do you think about fans that heckle? I mean, I've seen some things with Dan Hurley where people recently Providence played UConn and they were heckling Dan Hurley, and he went back at him. Something at Creighton too. He said he told the guy kick his butt if he came down there down. But what are your thoughts on heckling fans, and where is that line?
I draw the line at physicality. Like if you're throwing things or punching people or coming on the court in the physical space, and there's a line for me. I know a lot of people. I've heard everything. I've been called every name you could possibly imagine.
Jeez.
Right? All over the world. The line, what I will say is the line is different places. So in America, they might draw the line at certain curse words or certain, words or phrases or something like that. But across the water, anything goes.
Yeah.
Whatever English you can Google translate before the game, you say it in English, nobody even cares. Like I've had to I've had to like come to a fan and be like, hey, that's a little bit too much. Like talking about my wife, my kids, they'll look up your parents, anything a fan can use to distract you from the game, they'll do it.
That's crazy. That's nuts. I mean, I can't imagine dealing with that on a basis. Um, it's got to be uh that's terrible. I mean, as a coach, I've only dealt with parents who've heckled me
Mm,
or a coach or coaches I've worked with, and I put a stop to that real quick. So at least in that situation, I can speak up. But I think with fans and stuff, I think there's always like a line. But basketball's one of those sports too. It's like we're so close. Like basketball fans are so close to the players. I think it's the only sport where you can actually reach out and touch the players when they're like walking around. Like hockey, you don't get to do that. Football, you don't get to do that. It's very it's just very interesting that like fans can take advantage and they even have the possibility to run on the court, like if they're say
mhm.
courtside, if they don't have the right respect. But to be heckled, there has to be some certain line. I mean, what do they do for global? Do they stop anyone? I know they like when if you called someone out, would they stop them or what would they do?
Um, you like if someone was saying something to me, right, and I didn't like it, if I went to the security and said, "Hey, that guy said XYZ," they maybe will have a conversation with the fan. Maybe. But getting kicked out, you can't get any fans kicked out. They paid to come and watch you play. Go play it.
Jeez, that's crazy. It's very
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
And I've experienced that's what I'm saying. The line is at the physicality. Like if you're touching me with something, like I've had games where I'm walking into the tunnel and people are throwing like bottles full of water or Coke or pouring stuff or whatever. I've experienced all that kind of stuff. So there's a line for me. Like, don't touch me. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's
Have you helped anybody before?
was I no, honestly not. I think when I was a kid, maybe I would be like, you stink or something like that. But then like as you get older, you're like, there's no sense of doing it. And I don't even think like, even when I was like a teenager, I didn't really, I don't know, I'm a very quiet guy anyway. So like, I just more like watch the game to kind of like study it than to
Mhm.
just like, there are times where you're a fan, but I don't really like heckle anyone. I'll more be like, this guy stinks, like when I'm watching from my couch or something like that now, just be like, they gotta move the ball, or there's no ball movement. This sucks to like watch, like, just
Right.
see things that you don't like. But no, I don't feel like there's a need to heckle players or people unless they really mail it in. But like, there's no need to. I mean, they're at their jobs. We don't really like they don't come and heckle us at our jobs, like while we're sitting there. Even though like that would be kind of funny to see someone like me doing my accounting work and
That's
some.
my dream.
Yeah.
That is my dream is to come into your office and be like, "What are you doing? You're going too slow. You're not working hard enough." like, like, just heckle in the grocery store person, like, "Hey, you going slow? What's up?" And,
Yeah,
that's
it's
my dream.
it's funny because like I don't think too like people who are fans that really understand certain fans, I shouldn't say like all, but like certain fans don't really understand the level of play that you guys are at. I mean, I
Mm,
played against guys that didn't make the NBA who played for like the Globetrotters and stuff. And the
mhm.
level of play those guys are at for basketball is like this is nuts. I can only imagine what the NBA is and how much they do that night in and night out. You just can't criticize guys who are just so unbelievably talented. At that point, too, you just become an awe. Like wow, this guy's me. Like I'm sure if I watched you play basketball, I'd be like, well, this is nuts. Like because like you're obviously you play pro and everything like that. It's your level to play pro and play so long is you must be just like an excellent player. So yeah, I don't say they need the heckle guys that, that's their job. They play basketball or play sports for a living because their level of talent that they're at is, I'm more jealous. I wish I could have that level of talent. I just,
it's
but
it's weird. It's a weird space because as players, we want to be in control of our workspace. You know what I'm saying? And you want to kind of filter in what comes in, and 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 trust me, at these games where people get kicked out, these players have dealt with so much more than that one instance. You're like, oh, just ignore that guy. You could say that, but he's dealt with this all over the country every other day. Like, and some days, you don't want to hear about somebody talking about your wife and kids while
yeah,
you're trying to make dollars for them. You know what I mean? So yeah, and with my family, they're in the stands. So if something goes crazy or they find out those are my people, we don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So
right.
it's all about keeping people safe. I understand that Friday night I get to go heckle Jason. I know that's on people's calendars. You know what I mean? So I understand. I get that, but don't touch me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Understandable. Physical, past the physical lines. Like
Yeah.
you don't touch another person. Also, too, I think another thing too people don't realize is I think when you pay for it, you think it's entertainment, almost like a movie in some sort of way, but people don't realize that like athletes have days like we have days, like where they're having a bad day. Like I was just telling you about my past weekend and everything before, and they know that we have like everyone has days like that. We're all human. We all have days. And some days, like you said, someone says something might not affect you one day. Some guy says it the same day you're having a bad day, you snap off. You can tell,
Right.
like, but then physical is just a whole nother level, which I don't think fans
Right.
should not be able to touch. I love Charlie Barkley's physical thing where he says you should be able to take one fan out of the stands and fight them or something like that.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that. He's like, I still think they should implement the rule for like, someone that's really heckling you just to take him out in the middle of the court and beat the hell
Mid
out of him.
court, like
Yeah.
Aki. That'd be
Yeah,
dope.
there's your halftime show is that
That
fan
would
is
stop a
heckling.
lot. That would stop a lot.
Yeah.
It's it's a part of the game, and overseas, this stuff is generational. Like generations of this guy's family have heckled the away team, so it's kind of like you get it. But I've experienced some stuff that was way past that
Yeah, yeah, it's unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, I can only imagine from a player's perspective. I've only been experienced coach perspective with coaches and players, families, and stuff like that. I had one real bad issue when I was coaching where heckling got to a point, and then actually the other team's coaches got involved, where it
Wow.
was just like it was bad. I don't know what, like we had to report it and everything. It was really, really bad. So that's like the worst I've ever had to deal with it.
Ah,
It's like, and then you have to protect the kids and the other, like your head coach, like the head coach I was working with was like, like I'll take care of it. Just get the kids in the locker room and I'll like, and
oh
it
my
was
God.
nuts, man. It was nuts. Yeah. So yeah, deal with some interesting people out in
Yeah.
the But all right, let's bring it to the last topic is I have to bring this up because we had a conversation about court storming and people getting injured, Filipowski being the subject of that one, and then we hop to UNC versus Duke, biggest rivalry for those who don't like know, but one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball. Filipowski ended up tripping a UNC basketball player. Um, I want to know your thoughts on this because this made me laugh because I heard the Jay Billis argument trying to defend him, saying like he's hurt, all this stuff. Meanwhile, he trips a guy. Not the best look for anyone that defended Filipowski on that.
Yeah, now he just looks bad. Now he looks like a dirty player. Like the trip, it was pretty bad, man. That depending on what game it is, we might would have had to fight like right there. Like
Yeah.
I mean, at least like I failed and elbow dropped you or something. Like that's really what the college game was when I played was you taking licks from the bigs or you taking licks from hits from guys. You got to find your way to get your hits back in a basketball manner, not just tripping somebody. People get hurt from non-contact stuff. So you just got hurt allegedly from the court storming, and now here you are tripping one of your own, a player like you on a play that's not even like nothing. There's nothing. He's just tripping him.
Yeah. It goes on those things of like the Duke dirty players that people hate, and I think he's kind of
Mhm.
like embracing that as well. Like the Grayson Allens, obviously Grayson Allen was like the biggest one who would trip people all the time and
Mhm.
hit people. But yeah, and I like you kind of brought up a good point. It's like here you are complaining that you almost got hurt, someone ran into you, then you're just kind of now you're just and I know his high school basketball coach too, so I hope he's just not watching this, but we're saying this, but like it's kind of like hey, like it's kind of that's a dick move to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah,
Go and
yeah.
do that. Yeah. But like you said, I don't know, back when you played, those games were brutal. Like the big man would beat you up. I think one of the things that always come to my mind is the Duke UNC with Hansbrough just like bloody faced
Mhm.
like in
Mhm.
that game and it was more physical and I don't know, but then here you are saying one thing to stick up for your teammate, fellow players about court storming, and then now you're just like, hey, let me just throw my leg up unintentionally on this one.
That's crazy. That guy could have really got hurt. Like that little dumb stuff could have easily been something way worse. So I would have stepped on him or something. Like I don't know. It's like you gotta find a way, man. You have to find a way in the game. Like if you're gonna be a tough guy, great. Go on the on the other side. Ask to set a screen on him or something like that, and set a tough screen. You don't want to put yourself out of the game over something stupid. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Dangerous. He probably wasn't thinking. Just wanted to stop the person from running, but you got to be a little bit more cognizant of what's going on for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He's starting to embrace that college, that Duke hated white guy on Duke that everyone hates. It's like you have the Filipowskis, the Leitners, the Allens, and everything like that. And he's like in an interview, he says he kind of like embraces it. So it's like I never really hated him until now, until that happened. Like I just don't respect that.
I've been tripped like that before. I've been tripped like that before in the game,
Have you?
and it pissed me off really bad too. Like that stuff is dangerous. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So come on, man, don't do that.
yeah,
Don't
right,
do that.
exactly,
Go set a
exactly.
tough screen or something like that, or chicken wing them, or don't do that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think those games too are chippy and they get rivalry. But like you said, you could. I mean, if I was that guy, or I probably would have retaliated on like the next,
Man,
like set a hard
yes,
screen, or just come up and you know follow him hard if he got the ball or something like that. Kind of
right.
prove a point, not to mess around.
I mean, it's the kind of game for that kind of stuff, though. I mean, you wanna be gritty. You wanna. I mean, depending on where you stand, you want to make it a tough nose game if you have those guys. So I mean, but do it smartly. Do it
Yeah.
in a way that you won't hurt your team. You know what I'm saying? Or hurt another player. Like, come on, man. Come on. You're good. It's not like he's a bad player either. Like you expect somebody less talented to do that kind of stuff. That's usually their job. Because if they get a tech or two techs and get out of there, we don't care.
Yeah.
So you have to be cognizant of that stuff.
To kind of, yeah, to pay attention to it. Yeah. Well, it was very interesting. I had to bring it up because we were talking about it last week and he was complaining about how he was injured and listen to all these people talk about that. And now we see it on the other end and I'm like, okay, so not so injured anymore.
So not so,
Like,
so you're a dirty guy too. So
yeah, yeah.
it is what
Uh,
it is.
yeah, it is what it is. But all right, so that wraps up this episode of Assistant Anime. Jason, thank you for your time. Awesome to always, talk hoops and anime with you. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week.
Yes, sir.